Imagine a wild horse, left to die after a brutal wolf attack, alone in the freezing wilderness. What happens next will leave you breathless. A story of courage, hope, and an unbreakable bond between two souls who needed each other more than they realized. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with someone who loves inspiring tales of survival. Leave a comment below and let us know what part moved you the most. Now, let's dive into this incredible journey. It was a cold, unforgiving winter in the rugged hills of Silver Ridge, where a magnificent golden Mustang named Blaze fought for his life. The snow-covered land stretched endlessly, harsh winds biting through the air as dark clouds gathered above. Blaze, once the proud leader of his herd, now stood alone, separated during a violent storm 3 days earlier. His gleaming coat was matted with dirt and sweat, his powerful muscles straining with every step through knee-deep snow. He paused on a wind-swept ridge, ears perked forward, sensing danger before he even saw it. A long, mournful howl cut through the wind, then another and another. A pack of wolves had caught his scent. Their hunger sharpened by the barren winter, they communicated with eerie precision, closing in from all directions. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the landscape orange and purple, Blaze knew he was cornered. Normally swift enough to outrun any threat, the deep snow slowed him down, and exhaustion weakened him further. The first wolf appeared, a large alpha with piercing yellow eyes that glowed in the fading light. 2 more emerged beside it, their gray forms blending with the shadows. For others materialized, cutting off all escape routes. Blaze pawed the ground, nostrils flaring, ready to fight despite knowing he couldn't win. The wolves attacked as one, a coordinated assault refined over millennia. Blaze reared and struck out with his hooves, connecting with one wolf and sending it yelping away. But the others circled methodically, darting in to snap at his legs before retreating. One lunged, sinking its teeth into Blaze's hind leg. Another ripped open a gash on his flank. Blood streamed across his golden coat as he fought valiantly, kicking and striking, but fatigue took its toll. With a defiant cry that echoed through the pass, Blaze collapsed in the snow, broken and bloodied, waiting for death to claim him. But fate had other plans. Distant lights pierced the darkness, artificial beams cutting through the wilderness. The wolves hesitated, their primal fear of humans overriding their hunger. They retreated into the forest, growls of frustration fading into the night. Left alone under the moonlight, Blaze lay motionless, his labored breathing creating small clouds in the frigid air. That's when Dr. Rachel Carson, a veterinarian lost in the wilderness, arrived. Rachel wasn't supposed to be there. She had taken a wrong turn hours ago while driving back to her practice in Pine Valley. Her Jeep's headlights revealed something unusual ahead. A large shape in the snow, surrounded by dark stains. Grabbing her medical kit and flashlight, she stepped into the bitter cold. What she found took her breath away. A majestic Mustang, nearly motionless, covered in blood. Wolf tracks told the story of the violent attack. Blaze's eyes watched her approach, clouded with pain yet filled with quiet dignity. Steam rose from his wounds, warmth meeting the icy air. "Hey there, big guy," Rachel whispered, moving slowly to avoid startling him. The beam of her flashlight revealed the full extent of the damage. Multiple deep lacerations covered his hindquarters and flanks, one particularly nasty wound still bleeding steadily. Without immediate intervention, Blaze wouldn't survive the night. But treating a wild horse in the middle of nowhere presented enormous challenges. One kick, even in his weakened state, could be deadly, yet something in Blaze's eyes compelled Rachel to try. There was intelligence there, an awareness that transcended typical wild animal encounters. "I'm going to help you if you'll let me," she said softly, extending her hand. To her surprise, Blaze didn't attempt to flee. He remained still as she began cleaning his wounds, his muscles tensing but not lashing out. As Rachel worked, an unexpected blizzard rolled in with shocking speed, obscuring everything beyond a few feet. Temperatures plummeted, and frostbite threatened them both. Realizing they couldn't stay exposed, Rachel made a decision that would change both their lives forever. "This is completely insane," Rachel muttered, folding down the back seats of her Jeep. It was customized for transporting supplies, not hauling a full-grown Mustang. But as the storm intensified, She had no choice. Using an old tarp and emergency row boards, she created a makeshift ramp leading to the vehicle. Kneeling beside Blaze, she whispered, "I know you don't trust humans, and you have every reason not to. But right now, I'm asking you to trust me. We're going to do this together, or we're both going to freeze to death out here." What happened next felt nothing short of miraculous. Despite his grievous wounds, Blaze struggled to his feet, swaying dangerously but remaining upright. With Rachel guiding him, he took one agonizing step after another toward the Jeep. Each movement was a battle against pain and weakness, his legs threatening to buckle. When they reached the ramp, Blaze hesitated, testing its stability, summoning courage defying explanation. He placed his front hooves on the structure, trembling as it creaked ominously beneath his weight. Halfway up, his injured hind leg gave out, nearly toppling him sideways. Rachel threw herself against him, using all her strength to keep him balanced until he regained his footing. "You can do this," she whispered fiercely. "We're almost there." With a final surge of effort, Blaze lurched forward into the vehicle, collapsing onto the cargo floor. Rachel quickly followed, removing the ramp and slamming the tailgate shut just as a violent gust of wind threatened to tear it away. Inside, the sudden silence was almost as shocking as the storm outside. Rachel spread thermal blankets over Blaze's shivering form, checking his pulse again. "You made it," she said softly. "You incredible, stubborn, magnificent animal. You actually made it." The thermometer read minus 25 degrees Celsius, temperatures that could kill within 30 minutes of exposure. They had escaped certain death, but their ordeal was far from over. As the blizzard raged on, Rachel monitored Blaze's condition, administering fluids and medication despite the impossible circumstances. Around midnight, his condition worsened. Breathing became labored, and chills shook his body. Recognizing the signs of shock, Rachel sprang into action, establishing in 4-line his neck vein, a challenging procedure even in ideal conditions. Talking continuously to keep them both calm, she shared stories of her childhood, veterinary school, and dreams of protecting wild horses. At one point, Blaze nickered softly, the first vocalization since their ordeal began. In that moment, Rachel allowed herself to believe in miracles. Dawn brought an eerie stillness as the blizzard finally subsided. Rachel awoke disoriented, her first thought of Blaze. To her immense relief, he was still breathing, his condition stabilized. Stepping outside, she spotted a cabin half a mile away, smoke rising from its chimney. Leaving Blaze with fresh bandages and water, she trekked through knee-deep snow, each step exhausting. Reaching the cabin, she knocked on the door, praying for help. An elderly man named Thomas greeted her, inviting her inside. Over coffee, Rachel explained her situation, showing him a photo of Blaze. Thomas's eyes widened in recognition. "That Spirit," he said, revealing newspaper clippings and photographs. Spirit was a legendary Mustang who had evaded capture during a massive roundup years ago, becoming a symbol of freedom and resistance. Realizing the significance of the horse she had saved, Rachel felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. With Thomas's help, they transported Spirit to his property, which backed onto protected wilderness. For months, Rachel nursed Spirit back to health, forming a bond deeper than she'd ever experienced with any animal. When spring arrived, it was time to release him. Opening the corral gate, Rachel stepped back, watching as Spirit paused at the threshold between captivity and freedom. Turning to look at her one last time, he trotted away, then reared up in a triumphant display of power and joy before galloping toward the horizon. 2 months later, Rachel received a photograph from Thomas. It showed a herd of wild Mustangs led by a distinctive Palomino stallion, bearing the scars of his encounter with the wolves. Spirit had reclaimed his role as leader and protector. Rachel hung the photo in her clinic, placing a plaque beneath it with words that summarized everything the experience had taught her. Freedom is worth fighting for, and every life, no matter how wild, deserves a chance. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with someone who loves inspiring tales of survival. Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts.